wanted to talk today about intention and living a life of intention. And I believe that most of us here intend for our lives to be filled in a way where we add more joy and more love and more peace in the planet. And sometimes I think we can all agree that we're doing a pretty good job of it. And then at other times maybe we're not so much. So I want to share some ideas with you today about how we might take a few points that can become like compass points that will help us to keep our intentions aligned with our actual behavior. We intend to be one way, sometimes we behave differently. Let's find something that helps to bring them together back into the same point. And so I'm going to share some ideas with you today, but I hope you will bear with me and have some fun with me. I want you all to stand up for a moment.
Yeah, just when we got comfortable.
I know.
That's okay.
I know, I'm so sorry. If you don't feel like standing, that's okay too.
Now she says afterwards timing is everything.
A timing, thank you. Okay, so now, again, only if you feel like it. I want you to close your eyes, and then I want you to keep your eyes closed and turn to your left. And then turn to your left again. And then turn to your right. And then turn and face north. And open your eyes.
Okay, where's
Oh, most people are pretty good. I think north is that way, but I don't know.
North is that way.
I'm just sorry to.
What do you think? You're with a bunch of sailors?
It could almost be.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it again.
So which is the right way then?
But we're going to try it again differently.
Because that way.
Trying to figure out.
Now when I ask you to turn north, I'm going to ask you to pretend that the guitar string that will pluck is north. Okay, so close your eyes.
Okay, we're back in front.
Try it again. Close your eyes, turn left. Turn left again.
I love the garden.
Just for the heck of it, turn left again. And now turn to the north.
We'll pretend that Jesus
This
is
is
north.
north.
And pretend that Will's
Okay.
guitar string
Will is north. Will is north.
Will is
Will
north.
is
North.
Okay, so now we're almost all, those of us who understood that, facing Will, because that's where the guitar string is, which is our north. Okay. Sit down for a moment. Thank you.
For a moment.
Why did I do this? You are all wondering. I'm
Now I feel lost.
sure. Yeah, I promise you,
Where
you
is
don't
your
have to get
compass?
up again. Here's what I wanted to illustrate in doing that exercise, which I hope was not too onerous for you. It's that without a clear sense of direction, you can feel lost.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always take much more than a sound or an inner voice to help you to remember where your sense of direction should be. So
Will's going to have to walk around with me from now
Will be on
Your inner voice.
Guitar GPS.
Truly, this is true for our lives every day. All kidding aside, when we add intention and mindfulness to anything that we do, we create a true north for ourselves. And anything we do, no matter how unpleasant it might be, can be transformed into something meaningful if we do it with the sense of what our true north is, and with the sense that that higher intention is why we are here. Said another way, the degree to which we give attention to our intention is what makes the difference between tasks and interactions being viewed as drudgery and work, or being viewed as something that has meaning and that transcends physical appearance. Choice between drudgery and meaningful, between lost and purpose, is ours to make at any time. It's all in our consciousness, it's all in our mindfulness, and it's all in our intention. So I'm going to give you a few compass points to guide our path. These are compass points that are fairly random. I'm going to steal them from an example I'm going to give you, and we'll work with those today. And then you can choose your own as time goes on. So I'm going to work with this example. Imagine, if you will, working at a job that starts at 6:30 in the morning, goes till 6:30 at night. You're on your feet on a concrete floor for most of those 12 hours. You're regularly required to lift boxes that are heavy, well in excess of 20 and 30 pounds. Your workspace is exposed to the open air. If it's hot outside, it's hot inside. If it's cold, it's cold. You have to deal with the public all day long. And now imagine that the product that you're handling is smelly. Your clothes, your hair, everything that you have at work, that smell goes with you at home. The product is slippery, and it has to be packed in ice. Welcome to the Pike Place Fish Market.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Not likely your idea of an ideal job. Probably not the job that your mom hoped that you would get when you grew up and went to college. And I think most of us would understand if we had that job that we wouldn't look forward to going to work every day. That would be a job that most of us would consider drudgery. Doesn't sound pleasant at all. So imagine the surprise the corporate trainer had one day when he was visiting Pike Place Market, and he saw these guys working at the fish market, having what looked like the time of their lives. They were not only enjoying each other, they were having fun with the public as well. And intrigued, he spoke to the owner and began this movement called the fish philosophy, which is from now the 90s, I guess. They call it the fish philosophy. And it was a customer service revolution that then evolved also into a school program for teaching empathy and kindness to students. It has 4 steps. They have nothing to do with making a daily sales target. They have nothing to do with selling fish. They are a way of life that can apply to everything we do, whether it's in a retail store, in an accountant office, or on the bus. It's something that can apply to everything we do at every time in our lives. They claim that it's not just a day, it's a way. And the 4 steps that they follow work much as the guitar sound worked for us earlier today. They create 4 little compass points that are easy to remember, but that represent a true north when it comes to aligning behavior with values. And by doing so, they create a life with intention. So as I said earlier, I'm going to share these 4 steps with you. But I want you to understand that these words don't necessarily have to be yours. They're just an idea. I think they're pretty good. I think they're easy to remember. If I could get them myself every day, my life would be transformed. For your consideration. The 4 steps are: choose your attitude, be there, make their day, and play. So, let's examine them one by one, starting with what I consider the most difficult one to master, choosing our attitude. Every day when we wake up, we get to choose, consciously or unconsciously, how we're going to show up for the day. And for the most part, I think we could probably all agree that we show up out of habit. We tend to show up more unconsciously than consciously. We've had years of practice honing behaviors. Those behaviors focus sometimes on what's wrong, on what we need to judge, on the fear that we're not good enough, on worry. And it takes real effort to consciously realize that we have a choice in every day and in every situation to reframe and see things differently. In making that choice, we have the power to create a state of heaven or a state of hell for ourselves and for the people around us. We get distracted by stuff that really doesn't matter, and by doing so we forget that who we are at our core is divine. I think if I were working at the Pike Place Fish Market, that I would be hard-pressed to show up every day without feeling like I am going to a drudge job. I'd be hard-pressed to not think of myself as doing nothing but selling fish, and to focus, by doing so, on how miserable that working condition might be. And by doing that, creating an atmosphere and mindset of victimhood. I'm sure, even though we're not fishmongers, that we've all felt that at some point, have we not? That every day we're doing the same thing over and over. And yet it is in these very moments of misery, of despair, of this feeling of being a victim, that we can come to a crossroads and turn to that mental compass, observe what we're thinking, and quite literally decide whether those thoughts are aligned with our intention to add to life's enjoyment, with our intention to add to love and to joy on the planet. If they're not on the road that we want to be on, we're creating hell for ourselves. And as we check in with that compass point, we get to choose our attitude. Compass point is choose your attitude. Catch yourself. Realize that we've lost our way. Choose to see it differently, adjust, and get back on the road again. Step 1 is a reminder that we always have a choice in how we view our situation. Step 2, be there. Have you noticed, anybody, how busy and preoccupied we are? I'm quite proud of myself because my phone isn't by my side at the moment.
In the background.
Where is it? We are all so busy. And now with the advent of the smartphone, it's almost as if we have another appendage. Has anybody left their phone at home for half a day? When you're used to having it, you feel like something's missing. we've become, Pixie says no, good for you. We're into instant gratification. And everybody is so engaged in their emails and in their games and in their books and in their devices and all the stuff that they take with them everywhere, that we've forgotten to look up and enjoy the beauty around us. I saw a guy crossing 152nd. This was a year ago, but it sticks in my mind. 152nd, busy street, no crosswalk where he is, on his phone texting, walking in the middle of the traffic. Not that long ago, I saw a guy, I kid you not, on a bicycle, texting. And I thought, we've lost perspective. We aren't present to where we are. That's what this is about. Being there gives the person that we're talking to our undivided attention. It is actively listening to another person and seeking to understand where they're coming from, instead of not listening and waiting for them to shut up so we can say what we want to tell them. That's me. It's living in this now moment and being fully present to what is, rather than in the past and wishing for something to be different, or in the future and worrying about something that might never happen, or promising ourselves that we'll be happy when ... It's only by being present to a situation that we can truly see it clearly. It's only when we take the time to be present that we can see through the angry outburst to the fear beneath it. It's when we are giving a person our true attention that we can truly understand what they need us to say back to them. We honor people, including ourselves, when we are willing to be fully with them and present with them. By doing so, we are sending a message of love and respect to whoever we're dealing with. It was John Lennon who said, and I quote, "Life is what happens when we're making other plans." As the saying goes, yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery, today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. The second principle, the second compass point, the principle of being there, helps us to remember to express love for everything in every moment right now and live for today. That leads us to philosophy compass point number 3. Make their day. Notice that the words aren't make your day. It's make their day. Instead of being inwardly focused on how miserable their lives are, or how miserable their lives could be, or how miserable their job is, by being outwardly focused, the folks at the Pike Place Fish Market are able to transcend that physical appearance. Their success is not measured by customer service, it's measured by customer delight. How cool is that? They give the gift of joy to all comers, regardless of whether they're rich or poor, or whether they deserve it, or whether they're a jerk. It doesn't matter. All they care about is that every person is a human being who deserves to laugh, to be delighted, and to be treated as a person. There is no judgment. Rather, their gift is unconditional because they see the human in every face. Kids say they see the God in every face. And they make a real effort to touch the heart of every person that they connect with. Why is this an important lesson for us? We are hardwired to think that we're the only person who's important. And that makes sense when we're kids. The whole world has to revolve around us. Because our ego says that's how you get fed, and that's how you get clothed, and that's how you know that your basic needs are met. The problem is we don't always grow out of that well. And everybody feels the same way. Everybody colors their experiences and their life views from their own point of view, from their perspective. And in that respect, I suppose we're all similar. For us, each one of us is the most important person in our world. I'm reminded of this Gary Larson cartoon, and I cannot find it. I have to go find it again. I remember seeing it. But it shows birds looking down, and every person on the sidewalk is wearing a hat. Rosie knows what I'm talking about. The hat is a hat with a bullseye. And these birds are flying around, right? Trying to decide which one. I suppose, yeah. Anyway, it's funny. Here's the insight though. Every person believes that they've got the only bullseye. Theirs is the only one. We're hardwired to think that it's all about us, and at times that the world is out to get us. In our journey, though, to live a life of loving intention, we can integrate that ego that says it's all about us with our universal self, that God self, that knows that we're all connected and that recognizes that we're not separated from each other at all. By setting this intention to make customers' days, the folks at the fish market are really giving the gift of love, of recognition, of human connection. They transcend the mundane, everyday existence of being a fishmonger and become a force for something that is much more meaningful and much more powerful. And every one of us in this room has that same power. We have the opportunity every day to go about our lives, either thinking about ourselves or reminding ourselves that what we give to others, we give back to ourselves. Make someone's day. We get a payoff when we do that. We all know the delight that we feel when we've made somebody else's day. It's awesome. There's no gift that you can give yourself greater than to give to somebody else and see their face. This week I would encourage you to try to make someone's day at least once. Whether it's a compliment, a flower, a dinner, a hug. Make them laugh. Make someone's day. In the giving, you will be uplifted. So compass point number 3, make their day. And finally, the last compass point, play. Why is this so important? I haven't been able to prove it, but several internet websites say that at age 4, a child laughs 300 times a day. At age 40, that child laughs, get it right, Rhona, 4 times a day. We've forgotten how to laugh. Forget how to play. And we trade it in for worry, for work, for responsibility, and we take the world on our shoulders. And yet, laughter is as necessary to our health as sleep and food. Dr. Pamela Gerloff quotes, I quote her here, "Laughter reduces levels of stress hormones such as cortisol, epinephrine, and dopamine, increases heart health-enhancing hormones such as endorphins, neurotransmitters, and infection-fighting antibodies, and improves blood flow to the heart, all resulting in greater relaxation and resistance to disease, as well as improved mood and positive outlook." So, prescription this week, laugh. It's good for you. Take it with your vitamin. Take a happy pill. There's something that's so precious about laughter. It becomes infectious. The more you laugh, the more you want to laugh, the others laugh with you. Did you know that there's such a thing as an institute of play? There is. Stuart Brown says, "What do most Nobel laureates, innovative entrepreneurs, artists and performers, well-adjusted children, happy couples and families, and the most successfully adapted mammals have in common? They play enthusiastically throughout their lives."
And they have faith.
And they have faith. Thank you. That's beautiful. Thank you, Mildred.
I carry that in my pocket.
That is beautiful. Thank you. Would you pass it around? So here's the thing about that. Remember we were speaking a bit about choosing your attitude? They did a study on kids, pre-teens, and they looked at whether kids called what they were doing play or work. They labeled the activity, had the kids label it as play or work. Those same kids they went back to in adulthood and reconnected with them to see what they found, how their lives turned out. The children who thought of everything as play were more successful academically, were happier at school, and were more socially content. The people who saw everything at work, less so. They did the same things. It's all up here. What the guys at the fish market have learned is that the fine art of making work into play. They've made it fun, and in doing so, they aren't selling fish, they're selling joy. They're giving it. They remind us to lighten up and not take ourselves too seriously. They remind us that when we play with other people, even if they're strangers, we're connecting with each other. I don't know how many of you guys know my dad, but he is like this. He does the same thing. He loves, Rosie's laughing, she knows my father. He loves to make people laugh. He's the only person I know who will go up to the border and get away with it. Goes to the border, pretends it's a drive-through, and orders a burger and fries. And he can get away with it, okay? He has so much fun. And his philosophy is that life is too important to be taken seriously. So, let's spend our lives laughing together. When Jesus reminded us that the way to enter the kingdom of heaven is to come as little children, I think this is what he was talking about. It's to let the kids, let the mindset of childhood be with us, that simplicity, that no need to worry. They simply live, kids. I was in the SkyTrain recently, and it was Kids Ride Free Week. So there was this whole classroom of, I don't know, they must have been 10 to 12 years old. I can't tell how old kids are anymore. But they were having the time of their lives, these kids. They were teasing each other, laughing, joking, showing things on their little smartphones and stuff. And it was loud, and it was exciting, and it was vibrant, and it was alive. And I loved it. I loved watching it because it was so precious. And I caught the eye of a lady who turned around and looked at them like they were dirt. And I was so disappointed for her because she's missing out and forgetting the joy of that feeling of being a kid who has no worry in the world. We worry too much. Leo Viscalia, that wonderful disciple of love, said, and I quote, "Worry never robs tomorrow of its sorrow, it only robs today of its joy." Great, great, great saying. Jesus said, can't add even 1 hour to your life by worrying. It's a good thing to remember. And it stops us from playing. Who cares if the house is clean? Who cares about whether or not something's going to happen tomorrow? Now, play. Loretta LaRoche, anybody heard of her?
Yes, yes.
She's a wonderful inspirational speaker from Brooklyn, New York, with Italian accent, New York Italian accent. She's an awesome, awesome, funny lady. And she says, worry is like a rocking chair. It uses up all of your energy and it goes nowhere. Where does it get you? That's what she said. Very cool. One of her books is called Life is Short, Wear Your Party Pants. Well, that'll give you some idea of the kind of message she has. So these steps that I'm talking about in the fish philosophy are simply guides to help us align our values with our behaviors. They can be used, therefore, as that compass point so that we're not in that place of feeling lost. It helps us to set a goal and re-energize ourselves to get in touch with it if we find, inevitably, that we stray from the path. It helps us to not live by default, but instead to live with intention. They're easy to remember, but you can choose your own. I like the idea of playing, of being there, of choosing my attitude, and of making people's day. I think if we put those four together, we can transform our lives. I think it's a pretty good way of capturing in 4 simple steps that idea of living a life of love. But each of us can choose our own way showers. The idea is simply to have them and think of them as compass points. After this talk and after today, it may be nothing more than hearing Will's guitar in the background, and that in itself can be just the reminder to put ourselves back in that space. Thank you, Will. And finally, nothing to do with what I'm speaking about with respect to intention, and yet everything to do with it. I'm gonna get emotional, I know. I'm sorry. Tuesday. Remember to stay. It's a day of solemnity and respect at any time. It's made more poignant this year for us in Canada. Oh man. Because of a fatal hit-and-run attack on Warrant Officer Patrice Vincent in Quebec. And 4 days later, the attack on the National War Memorial in Ottawa, which resulted in the wounding, thank you, of Brandon Stevenson and the death of Nathan Cirillo. It also resulted in the loss of Canada's innocence and our complete trust in the safety and security of our country. Thomas Mulcair said, and I quote, that Canada is blessed by love, by diversity and peace. No matter what your view on war is, I invite you to take a few minutes on Tuesday to express gratitude for our country and for the love, diversity, and peace that we are privileged to share, and for the people who are willing to stand in the face of death to defend that. I was particularly touched by the last words that they believe that Corporal Cirillo heard. A passerby named Barbara Winters stopped to try to help. And all she did was say, "You are loved." Do you think that woman knew what her true north is? Live love. Love life. Live life. In all things be grateful. And give love like there's no tomorrow. Namaste.